I think the Tahoe Rim Trail might be one of the best first through hikes in the country. But if you're a beginner, don't start this trail until you hear what I'm about to tell you. Yes, it's beautiful. Yes, it's convenient. And yes, it's absolutely doable, even if you've never done a through hike before. But the TRT surprised me in a few ways, from water scarcity to surprising elevation gain, and even a section where camping restrictions and water just don't play nicely together. So in this video, I'm going to share with you why a beginner should absolutely consider the Tahoe Rim Trail, and some reasons why this trail may not be the right one to cut your teeth on, at least not yet. Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. So I am going to go into about 5 reasons, kind of off the top of my head, why I think the Tahoe Rim Trail is a trail for beginners and first-time through hikers. The first reason why I think this trail is great for beginners is that it is so close to civilization. So if you are nervous, if you've never done a through hike before, if you're doing this solo, there is civilization everywhere. The trail brings you right into Tahoe City on the northern end of the trail, but you've got civilization there. You're coming in through Echo Lake area, which there are lots of people. You're coming in through the Kingsbury North and South area, which is an easy either hitch or Uber ride into South Lake Tahoe, and even a few other places near Mount Rose Campground and the highway there, Spooner Summit and the highway that runs through there, where you can get easily accessed into different towns that are along the lake. And the second reason why I think this is a great trail for beginners is it doesn't require extensive food planning and preparation. You've got a lot of places that you can go into, again, because of being in civilization, where you can do some resupplying, or you can drop boxes off. So your planning for food really should only require you to carry maybe 3, maybe 4 days max of food at a time, depending on your pace and your itinerary. But again, the trail will come right into Tahoe City, so you can either leave a box there at one of the hotels or ship one. You can just use the Safeway that's in Tahoe City to do some resupplying. You can also resupply at Echo Lake Chalet. You can also get a hitch from there or a ride into Myers, or again into South Lake Tahoe from Echo Lake or from the Kingsbury North or the Kingsbury South sections. So resupply, food planning, very easy, very simple. So if food planning is something that's challenging for you, or just kind of thinking about what food should I eat on the trail, how should I make this fun, I invite you to go down into my video description and look at the link for the Backcountry Foodie. Aaron at Backcountry Foodie has created a wonderful resource for planning and thinking about food on trail, both from a nutrition standpoint and a dietitian standpoint. There are some awesome recipes with all of the calories. They're simple to make, they're simple to think and plan about. I use this extensively, my son and I did, as we did our JMT hike. So I have an affiliate link down below that doesn't cost you anything extra. There's also a discount code for my viewers if that is something interesting. The Backcountry Foodie, a great resource. I've used it myself. I continue to use it because it is such a helpful thing. Aaron has done such a wonderful job with awesome recipes, easy and simple recipes, and obviously very tasty recipes as well. So go ahead, check that link down in the description below if you're interested. And there's a discount code available to you if you would like to take advantage of her services at the Backcountry Foodie. Okay, so the third reason I think the Tahoe Rim Trail is great for beginners has to do with how popular the trail is. And I don't just mean popular amongst hikers or through hikers, but popular for day hikers. There are plenty of people that are on that trail in nearly all sections of that trail, all times of the day. So you're never kind of really alone, which you may like, you may not like. But you've got lots of day hikers through the Kingsbury area that I saw. You've got lots of bikers in the northern part of the trail who are doing a lot of mountain biking, even in the Kingsbury area as well. And then once you make your way over kind of past Tahoe City on the western side of the trail, you've got a lot of PCT hikers that are going northbound. So you've got a lot of folks that are kind of on the trail. So if you're a little nervous about being by yourself or alone on the trail, just know it's a very popular trail amongst through hikers, day hikers, weekend backpackers. And so there's always going to be relatively a decent amount of people around you, not overcrowded, but also not alone. So hopefully that is helpful if that's something that you're concerned about on your first time through hiking. So definitely a point in my mind in favor of a benefit to first time through hikers. Okay, so the fourth reason I think the Tahoe Rim Trail is great for beginner first time through hikers is just accessible planning. One, the permitting process is super easy. You just need to call the association and essentially you got your permit. And then also it's just a loop around the trail. So your start and end point is the same spot. And so that makes it easy logistically for kind of how to get to a start, how to get to the end. You're not having to worry about one that might be a point A to point B where you're trying to figure out how do I get there and how do I get home once you're finished. So pretty easy in that regard. Permitting is very easy. And there are tons of resources online to help with what the hike should look like or can look like, including many of my own, which you can see here in my Tahoe Rim Trail playlist. I think will actually be on this side. So that's the fourth reason I think is just how accessible the planning and the preparation is. Pretty simple. And the fifth reason I think this is great for a first time through hiker, you've got great views. It is beautiful. The trail is absolutely wonderful. In many sections, it is just pristinely manicured with beautiful views of pine forests. Being in the pine forest, I think is pretty in and of itself. And then along the big ridges, as you circumvent the lake, you've got awesome 360 views of the lake. And once you get on that west side in the Desolation Wilderness, you really have some stunning views, not specifically of Lake Tahoe, but just of kind of the northern Sierra Mountains, the granite, beautiful Lake Aloha, beautiful areas through there. So it is a wonderful and a beautiful hike, which is another reason why I think it is great for a first-time through hiker to experience the beauty of the Lake Tahoe and surrounding areas. But it's not all lakes and sunsets. And here are a few things that caught me off guard about the Tahoe Rim Trail. So these first two are kind of one and the same, but they are slightly separate. And I want to preface this by saying these aren't deal breakers. This is not going to necessarily make it so you can't hike the TRT. It's just things you need to know and plan. And if you've watched any of my videos post-trip and even some of my daily vlogs of the TRT, you will know this first two, and that's just the water scarcity that is on the east and the north sides of the trail. There are really only about 5 places right on trail that you can get water for about an 85-mile section. So you've got to kind of figure that part out. It likely does require at least 1 water cache, possibly 2. My recommendations would be at Spooner Trailhead, there the Spooner Summit, or at Brockway Summit and the Brockway Trailhead. Those are 2 very popular places to cache. And sometimes if you're lucky, you'll have trail angels that will just cache water there for hikers. But just know water on that east and north side is going to be a challenge. So prepare accordingly, know the consistent water sources, and then know if you need to supplement that with a water cache. So point number 2 kind of goes along with the water challenges, and we're going to add another layer of challenge on top of that, and that is a camping restriction that starts about a mile or so south of Spooner Summit and goes all the way up through kind of the Mount Rose area. That's, I want to say it's around a 16-mile camping restriction, where the only places you can camp obviously are a mile south of Spooner Summit. And within that restricted area, there are 2 campgrounds that you can camp at. One is the Marlette campground. The other is like the North Canyon campground, I believe is the name of it, which is about a 1.5 miles off trail and downhill. I don't know that a lot of people use that, but it's an option. So mixed in with the challenges of water scarcity in that section, there's about a 26-mile water area that you've got to navigate where there's no water on trail. Now you've got another 16 or so miles of a camping restriction where you're kind of limited on where you can camp. So again, these aren't insurmountable. They are, once you know about them, you can prepare and plan for them. Just knowing where the water is, knowing where the camping restrictions are, and what options you have available to you can help you as you plan and prepare for the TRT. And the third point, this actually really did surprise me. In my planning, I didn't realize how much elevation kind of gain there is on the TRT. I kind of thought, oh, you know, these are kind of the foothills that are around Lake Tahoe. Nothing's really huge in terms of like high peaks and lots of passes. But I was surprised as I kind of reflect back on my mileage and my daily kind of statistics. I don't know that I was really ever under 3,000 feet of elevation gain in a day, where a few pushing over 4,000 feet. So just know you're gonna be moving up and down in elevation quite a bit. So if you haven't prepared or you haven't done a great job getting in shape for this hike, that's going to be a bit of a challenge for you. And if you're coming from an area that is very flat through the Midwest, even on the East Coast in some areas, know you need to prepare and you need to have kind of a training plan. I have a video I created about how to prepare and train for the JMT, which I'll put up here in a card. But I would say a lot of those principles would be similar if you're trying to do the TRT with the elevation gain and just with kind of being at a minimum at about, I think the lake itself sits at 6,400 feet of elevation, and you're moving up and down, you know, in the mountains above that. So Relay Peak is the highest piece on part of the trail, I think in the upper 9,000s, and then Dick's Pass is another high pass on the trail around 9,400 feet. So you're not up in terms of super high elevation, but again, doing upwards of 3,000 to 4,000 feet of gain a day can be challenging if you haven't prepared or gotten in shape for it. Okay, so my recommendation, is the TRT something for a first-time thru-hiker or a beginner thru-hiker? Absolutely yes, it is. But you just need to be smart and prepare for the areas that need preparation. So you need to understand the water challenges. You need to understand the restrictions in the camping along kind of that east and that north side. And you need to be fit, at least do some things to prepare physically. If you do those things, this can be a magnificent and a wonderful trail, especially if it's your first thru-hike, solo thru-hike, like it was for me. For solo thru-hike. So absolutely, I think it's doable. Just make sure that there's some preparation and planning involved, and you will have a fantastic time. So if you're planning your first thru-hike and you want some more on-trail experiences and informational and educational videos, please consider subscribing down below. Really helps me out, helps the channel out as we continue to try to grow this community. I would love to have some ambitious goal of having 1,000 of you subscribe to me by the end of this year. That's pretty big since we're already into November, at least we're at the date of this filming, and we're about 400 short. So we got a long ways to go in about 2 months. Also, if this is a trail that you're interested in and you're trying to figure out how to plan and prepare and think about, let me point you to one of my more recent videos that should go over all of the logistics from permitting to these water challenges and camping challenges, and how to get to and from Tahoe if that's logistically part of your plan as well. I'll link that here, and that should be a help for you. And we will see you next time. Thanks for watching and being here. Peace.